Oh, I should be live. Hmm. Oh, I should be live. Oh, good. I think I am. So, hello, everyone. Hello, greetings. Hello, David. Splendid isolation. Oh, I can do this one. This is great. I love this. I did decide to use StreamYard in the end. Hello, Nihilist Lives Matter. Yay, Brexit. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Rhiannon. How you doing? How you doing? I like your. Oh, I like your new avatar. I can tell who that is. Snarnock, Brecky, Brecky. How you doing? Martin Taylor, welcome. 2 out of 4 hit comments hidden on your notice of upcoming live stream video. I've just gone over there and I've tried to sort it out. What I did was I went to the spam folder, I couldn't see anything in it. So I don't know why that was, mate. I don't know why that was. Sorry about that. But hello, Martin Taylor, how are you? Mm. Hello. Hello, Pat Riot. How do you do? Oh, thanks, Torian, and I'm loud and clear. Yeah, I did the mic adjustments before I started this time. I'm sounding a bit husky again. Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I got late this morning. No, of course I didn't. I've got a cold. I've got a good old-fashioned cold. Do you remember colds, guys? Do you remember having colds and worrying about getting a cold? Oh, it's so nostalgic to get a cold. But I have got a cold, yeah. Um, so that's you. I thought so, Rian. I've seen other photos of you like that. Martin Turner says, Ben, I've been watching Jimmy Jean's epic. Oh, right. Oh, God, he was going to get me. I've got to contact him. I was supposed to be on Sunday, but he didn't. He never got back to me. He never got back to me. He never really got back to me. Yeah, I wrote to him and I said, yeah, let me know what time. He never got back. I said, Sunday afternoon, I'm free. He says, great. So, Jimmy, if you got back to me, I could have done it Sunday. Never mind. Let me know again, Martin. Um, Let me know. Sorry, Martin. I've got in touch with Jimmy. I'll say, I'll be on the next show if you like. Hello, Neil. It sounds much better now. I found out what the problem was last night. As many of you know, I did a test live stream last night just to see if I could do this with StreamYard. I didn't want to fuck around basically when I'm doing the Brexit live stream, so I thought I'd test it and see how it went. It seemed to be all right. I've got a few more things I just want to do. But yeah, I've got a bit of a cold. My internet's been playing up as well. Well, last night it was really bad. I actually did a recording with Alan Tate, Van Fogey on Scum Media. It was I did a recording with Unwashed. I'm going to be on his show. I had to quit after 45 minutes because my internet kept playing up. Now it's been a bit intermittent today. I don't know what's causing it. I'll have to, I haven't actually called them yet, but there you go. It looks better. It feels better, this system. To be honest, I think the picture's a bit sharper than I get with OBS. Also, if you remember from yesterday, I said I was a bit dubious about StreamYard because I couldn't record. And I was a bit fed up because the reason I record live streams is that when I finished a live stream with OBS, I go to like my studio page and I can't download the video for about 24 hours, depending on how long the video is. Guess how long? With last night's live stream, it went on for nearly half an hour. And guess what, David? Guess what? It was immediate. I went straight over to the studio page as soon as I finished last night's live stream. It was immediately ready to download. Immediately. Instantly ready to download. And I thought, blimey. And obviously, I knew it would process quite quickly because it's a shorter video, but immediately, that means I'm hoping, I'm taking a risk here by not recording this. I'm hoping it means that this video, maybe there's something to do with StreamYard that makes it easier for YouTube to cope with than OBS. Because OBS tends to record massive files. We're talking like 6, because sometimes 6 gigabytes, depending on how much, depending on what you're filming, per hour. StreamYard seems to be able to create smaller files, more compressed files. It could be that. Maybe that's why YouTube can process it immediately. No, this nice matter says, I picked you over AA Livestream. Don't make me regret it. What, academic agent? Am I upstaging academic agents? Who do you mean, AA? Hello, Michael Snow. How do you do? Hello, Sorenable. Nice to see you again. So, all right, Snarlock is telling people how to deal with the notice comments, and I'll go to those notice comments very shortly. I've actually had one just lately. Alien flu. I don't know. It could be. But it affected my voice again. But I think it actually makes me sound better. You know, I've certainly had a lot more fan mail from women in the last couple of days. Yes, David correctly says technically the cold is a coronavirus. That's correct. It is part of that same family of viruses that the coof comes from. Have you heard of the 77th Brigade whistleblower news? Yeah, it's. I don't know much about it, Snark, but I've heard of them. I've heard of it. Inches, feet, and yards aren't nostalgic over here in California. I know nothing as it seems. I know, mate. It's you use imperial measurements. You may notice that I've always used imperial measurements. That's partly because of Brexit. I even during my space weather on the Herpanmo show, I convert it to feet and inches. Yeah. Oh, right. I enjoyed Unwashed when he was on Thomas Barden Reese's live streams. Yes, I did a few together with him. Hopefully, Thomas is still on a sabbatical, I think. I haven't heard from Thomas for a while, but I do hope he starts making videos again. And when he does, I hope he'll invite me on. Anyway, guys, I'm going to just try something. Let me just try something now. Virtual background. Okay. Yeah, I could have this one. What's this? I'm just launching a new background. No, that looks a bit pretentious, doesn't it? What's this one? Oh, brick wall. You could say, Ben, talking to you is like talking to a bloody brick wall. Blur. Oh, that's blurring. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let's find a good picture. How about my yeah? I'll see if that's it. Yes, EU toilet paper. Is that a good one? Do you reckon? I'll try quite like this one. Wait, let me just see if I can find it. I don't know if I can find it. It's somewhere in my pictures folder. It's somewhere in there. I'll see if I can find it. It's a Boudica picture, a Brexit Boudica picture. Well, where is it? Oh, this is a nice one. No, that doesn't work, does it? That doesn't work. Delete. I know. I'll find it. I'll find it. It's here somewhere. My pictures 2019. 2016. It's here somewhere. How about this? For best performance, we recommend using a green screen. I've got a green screen. How's that, guys? Do you like that one? I love this one. That's good. That's a great one. That is. Nice. Whoopi calling for a race war. I take it that's a spelling mistake. Whoopi Goldberg is like Lenny Henry. She is. She used to be quite funny, and now she's not funny anymore, and she can't really get any acting jobs. So she's reinvented herself as a wokey, just like Lenny Henry. Yeah, but I thought that was a bit posh. You know, that last background. Illuminati pyramid picture. Rhiannon Jones says, "No, we like to see your room, Ben." Oh, dear. Some people do, but I don't know. Big Bird wears a strap on might turn up. I don't want him seeing it. Is there a Hooters background? Asking for a friend. Oh, is that from their great video? Was it Satellite? That's a great video, that is. We like to see the bucket. I've hidden the bucket this time. Rhiannon says, and see how many more tea bags you have left. Oh, oh yes, this is the tea, the famous Irish tea. I've got about 20 left in there. That'll see me through to the next. That'll see me through to at least till the weekend. Oh, the space. Yeah, Raconta. Jason from Raconta's News has a space station. Yeah, I think this is most appropriate for Brexit, though. I can't. There's another much better picture I like, but it doesn't fit in. Doesn't fit in the frame. Yes, and Snar not quite right. He says, "Right," said Fred, are on our side, and so is Eric Clapton. Yes, so is Morrissey. So quite a few other people, famous people. Right said Fred. The guys behind it. They are. I didn't even know they were still alive. They're running the Oxford group that I've just joined. So they'll be at the event on February the 18th. Eric Clapton and Morrissey have both said they're going to refuse to perform in any venue where any kind of COVID documentation is required. Sorry, C-word documentation. Irish tea must be that coffee. Ah. Oh, it's from it's from a non-woke company. That's right, on, yeah. It's Irish tea. Yes. Right. Well, I'll go to the notice comments now. First of all, before we start anything, so I'd like to say a big hello to everyone. Sweeps Foxman 27. Hey mate, backstage waiting for your start. I might mention Bridget, quote unquote. I have the same birthday tomorrow. She was never ST. Bridget, though, through the church, would like to consecrate her, like all the pagan ceremonial places and ley lines they took over. Quite right, sweeps. Of course, it is. It's St. Bridget's Day, isn't it? Also known as Groundhog Day, also known as Imbolc. I actually went to an Imbolc ceremony at. I went to an Imbolc ceremony at Avebury. Well, when was it? 2003, I think. Nothing as it seems says, I'm wondering when you blokes will return to the imperial measurement system. Nothing, that's just come up, hasn't it? Well, I actually think that the way that the metric system was basically forced down our throat. This was long before this is before the Lisbon Treaty. This was before Maastricht. This was like in the 80s. We slowly but surely they're wheedling in the metric system in all kinds of ways everywhere. And then this bloke at a grocery shop, he runs a small independent grocery shop. He just says, I'm refusing to use it. This came up in my debate with Bowler Hat Man. Oh, I got some news about Bowler Hat Man. I'll be coming in a minute. But yeah, in my debate with Bowler Hat Man, which many of you remember, I brought this up and he just said, oh, but he had plenty. He had over 2 years to adjust. I says, Ollie, that's not the point. The point is he was being forced to use this metric system. He didn't want to use it. His customers didn't want to use it. He was arrested for fraud. He almost went to jail. When people who commit some violent crimes are not even arrested. If you go on a protest for certain organisations now and riot, you're not even arrested. Marley Pumpkin. Here we go. Garbage Brexit, garbage live stream. Yes, Marley, I know you're gonna watch it from beginning to end, aren't you? You sad git. Israel Diego Rivera genius to the real genius says Brexit was a City of London scam. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Diego Rivera. Are you actually there now? Let's have a look. Are you here? Oh, he is. Right, good. Right, this is going to be fun. Jean-Luc Picard, Captain. Make it so, number one. Good evening. Good to see you. I've changed my YouTube name twice in 2 weeks. Can't change it back. Lol. That's the Klingons, mate. I told you they're not friendly. You think they are? You should go back in time again and talk to Captain Kirk. Martin Taylor, Ben, Awakenings Expo in Manchester this year, dominated by Jimmy Church, Billy Carson, with lots of speakers that bring into the show. Hey, I've got my ticket already. Yeah, I've got my ticket. I'm looking forward to that. I've only got the standard. I got the gold ticket. I've not got the platinum one. So but honestly, I honestly recommend not just getting the gold ticket, because what's available under the gold ticket is so good. You get to go in hangar 2 and 3. You get nearly everything you really to make the weekend enjoyable. And really, if I bought the platinum ticket, I'd be tempted to go into hangar 1, and I'd miss all the great stuff that was in hangar 2. And Jimmy Church, Billy Carson. I met Billy Carson last time. There's a good few other people there. Craig Charles is going to be there now, and that's probably because he did that UFO program. But Lou Elizondo's not going to be there, which is a bit of a disappointment. He was originally booked. Hello, Welsh Ripper. Hello, Wales, another Welshman. Thompson's Tea, yes. Leanne and I are not. They're not paying us. Advertising. We're both advertising them for free because because they are a product I approve of. Yeah. Diego Rivera's brought up a good point here that about. Well, this is how far back the European Union goes. It's actually much older than most people think. In fact, you could time its beginning probably to the Brussels Treaty of 1946. Although the concept, the actual the underground movement to build a United States of Europe goes back probably probably to probably to the Kalergi Plan, which began in 1920. This is when Kudinoff and Kalergi actually published his book, and it became very influential very quickly. It was called Pan Europa, and I've not actually read it. I've read commentary on it, and it sounds very interesting. It's amazing when you consider it was written over 100 years ago about how all through the 20th century the process of gradualism was actually adopted by all the nations. The leaders of all the nations actually fell in with this conspiracy, and they knew that they could not propose this openly. This wasn't like the creation of the United States of America was done much more openly and honestly. There was a signing of the Declaration of Independence. There was the Constitution, Bill of Rights, etc. Literally, it was all done and dusted within very very quickly and openly. The United States of Europe was another matter. It couldn't be done openly. It had to be done secretly and slowly through the old frog boiling technique, gradualism, or what David Icke calls the stepping stones approach. This is, what we're talking about now. Our position, our opposition to this, is not new. In fact, there were people from the very beginning who saw it coming, who knew it was coming. One of them is a certain gentleman we can't really refer to on YouTube because he's a bit of a controversial character. A certain artist from Austria. There were others, though. There was Tony Benn, a man who sadly died. He died before Brexit. It would be great if he'd lived a few more years to see what was achieved by us. And it is an achievement. And I know a lot of you are going to tell me this evening that it's not. A lot of you are going to tell me that it's a scam. Caroline Stevens. I know she's not. She has unblocked me now. I haven't spoken to her. They're gonna say that it's still a big scam. It doesn't matter. It's just a confidence trick. It's just a deeper version of the New World Order. Richard D. Hall said this. Do you remember I had a bit of a go at him over that again? It's knowledge lives matter. The metric system is superior, to be honest. To be honest, on a rational level, in many ways, it is because it's simpler. It's simpler to use. It's decimal, so it makes it much simpler to work things out. But it's not British. It's foreign. As I said to Bowler Hatman during our debate, it is the measurement used by the occupation. They impose it on us as a way of controlling us. It's symbolic. No, it's tomorrow, February the 1st, Michael Snow. Yeah, it is February the 1st. The metric mark. That's right, David. You remember him. What a hero. He said he would go to jail if necessary. And he almost did the way the police they reacted. You think he was some monster ragamuffin from, who was burgling houses and stealing drugs and things like that. But of course, they considered him a higher priority case to prosecute than those who do burgle houses and steal drugs and riot and things like that. Fire in the Belly Festival, Shannon Jones. That's any day when I go out for a curry. There was that metric chap on RT. Yes, I can't remember his name. He was on Rich Planets, talking about how they had in the highway code they've imposed metric measurements in the highway code without permission, completely illegally. He's campaigning to get the metric system revoked. To get it revoked. I'm able to find out what it because he's a brilliant guy. I don't want people to think I'm against Richard D. Hall. I'm not. I just give him as good as he gets. I just give him as good as he gives. Um, I just think I just give him, like I said, he gives it out, I give it him back. Oh, I can't find it now. Oh, here we. A monetary system, no. It was Tony Bennett. Was that him? I think it was, wasn't it? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Welsh Ripper, 15-minute cities. Yeah. Of course, I'm in the original 15-minute city, the pilot scheme. There's going to be a massive protest February the 18th. I've joined, like I said, I've joined the group. I've joined It's called. I've joined Not Our Future. I've already offered my services to do as much as I can, including like leafleting and things like that. Spring is on its way. That's what Imolk is for. Yes. Pat Wright, I use imperial measurements and pre-decimal currency. That's being a red one. How do you get away with using pre? You mean you've got old pound, shillings, and pence? I think that I'd like to see a day when pre-decimal currency is brought back, because the decimal currency was introduced in 1971. Now that's long before, like the Maastricht Treaty was almost 20 years away. Um, and all these other things, these things were way in the future. All these actual legislation, this internationalism was way in the future. But they brought in the decimal currency for that reason, because after the common market began in 1962, which again was one of the stepping stones. But what's wrong with having pounds, shillings, and pence? We've used them for centuries before then. No one had a problem before. We should bring them back. I'd like to see a really pro-Brexit government that will bring those things back. Diego Rivera, has immigration gone down after Brexit? No, it hasn't. Oh, I was going through the notices. Where's the notices? Someone said, oh yeah. Diego Rivera, Brexit was a City of London scam. There was some more. What were the others? There was some more. Who was it? Someone said, oh, someone, here we go. Um, no, someone was saying, oh, it's all a bit. Someone left quite an interesting comment. What was it? No, they didn't. Oh, right, I must have imagined it. You leaving interesting comments. Oh, yeah. So the answer to the question is no, Diego. Maybe that's something we can talk about. Incarcerated for using Fahrenheit. Yeah, you can be. This guy could have been. Yeah. Jean-Luc Picard says St. Bridget's Day is tomorrow. As a Catholic, we will make crosses on the February the 1st. St. Bridget's Cross. Hey, yeah, it is. St. Bridget is a pagan deity too. The thing I went to in 2003, God, that's 10 years ago, in Avebury, they did have an effigy of St. Bridget. These were like druids and neo-pagans, Wiccans. I wish they bring back pre-decimal currency. I'd wager half a guinea. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have pounds, shillings, and pence again and talk about 5 bob bits and things like that? Wouldn't that be great? Your my earphones are shape shifting. Well, Shrippers, as long as they keep working, that's the main thing. There was Claude Monet's letter describing the EU from the early 50s. Yeah. Oh yeah. Tony Benn tried to warn us. Thing is, Jeremy Corbyn was one of his in the early 80s. Jeremy Corbyn became an MP. He was part of the Labour Eurosceptics, along with Ben and a couple of other people. And now then he became Labour leader, and he became a bloody Ramona. No, you see, I used to think that guy was okay, even though I disagreed with him. I used to think at least he's not a corrupt, like, careerist liar. But then, of course, turns out he is. The certain in the a certain person we can't talk about wanted to unify Europe, of course. I think he would. I don't know about maybe. Pat Ryan says, I called my first wife Old Penny. She weighed 240 pounds. Not to her face, I hope. Yeah, Tony Benn was a stalwart anti-EU politician. He wasn't. Was of a stalwart anti-EU, but he wasn't against the United States of Europe in principle. He was for that. For him, the issue was a democratic one where people must be asked. To be honest, that's good enough because people would have said no. Because if he probably knew that, actually, he probably knew. It's rather like James Goldsmith. He was the same. He didn't. He said he was not anti-EU. He wanted it to be introduced properly through referendums across the continent. He wanted, especially Britain. He wanted one in Britain. He wanted one across the continent, so as to so that people would be able to agree in it the way the American people agreed to the United States of America. But he knew. I think he knew, just like Tony Benn knew, that in those circumstances, the entire European project would fail. What's the main achievement of Brexit so far? Well, right now, I don't think Brexit has had a chance to achieve anything except just to be a reminder. I think it's a symbolic victory more than anything else. I think its main purpose now is, at the moment, is symbolic. It is a reminder of 2016. It is a reminder that the New World Order, the Illuminati, are not infallible gods. The deep state is not some kind of monolithic, omnipotent entity. Honestly, people in distant circles, they tend to attribute to the bad guys, our enemies, almost magical powers. I mean, I brought this up on a previous video. The lament you often hear is, "Oh, they got woke and they didn't go broke." Oh, as if, well, we make movies and we make them woke. No one watches them, but it doesn't matter. We can still fund them. Our shareholders, that we just we just shoot fairy dust into the eyes of our shareholders, and they don't object. No, the power of our enemies is limited. If it wasn't, why do you think they're running scared right now? Why do you think there was this backlash against 2016, which was the C word? The whole C word pandemic lockdown was a reaction to 2016, which I predicted would happen. I said they're not going to like this. They're not going to like this. They're going to fight back. But you see, we've got to realize, like, when Brexit happened, we had literally like 3 months of pure freedom before the backlash began. I'm honestly surprised they didn't. They must. The only reason they didn't do it is because they couldn't, for some reason. They actually delayed Brexit until after the start of the lockdown, because if they'd done that, it would have been the perfect pretext to postpone it indefinitely until the lockdown was over, in which case we'd still be in the EU now. I don't know if she exactly imposed upon. Yeah, nothing as it seems. Does the UK still have to pay the EU divorce bill? What happens if we refuse to pay it? Well, they can come and my advice is tell them to come and collect it, and we'll meet them on the beach. RDH is he's cool. I like Richard's cool. As I said before, I've got personal issues with him, but I never miss Rich Planet, and I watch some of them over and over again. Yes, is there a protest in Canterbury where they're trying to do the same thing as Oxford? I don't know. I can't. There must be some kind of resistance in Canterbury, because Canterbury is the second. It's the second smart city, isn't it? The second lockdown city. Jean-Luc Picard, a failed UKIP candidate, talked about Barrymore, that fellow with the brown suit. I don't know. I don't know, Captain. Paul Armstrong. Happy 3rd anniversary, Brent. Then thanks, Paul. Yes, happy Brexiversary. Sax Glenn, Brexit was a massive mistake. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I think it's the best thing to happen. I think it's one of the central two elements of the 2016 effect. The other being Trump. That's why when I was being surrounded by those nasty little hoodlums on Whitehall, I was shouting, "Brexit, Trump! Brexit, Trump!" Well, they were attacking me. Hello, Gary Robertson. How you doing? Rhiannon says, illegal immigration certainly hasn't gone down. It's skyrocketed, Rhiannon. Now, why is that? It's obviously being made to happen. It's obviously the government are like, they're doing it deliberately. You can't, I know there's this idea that they're all hand-wringing liberals going, oh, we'd like to stop it, but we can't. Like that stupid Tory MP the other day said, the truth of the matter is we can't stop it. We can't just send them back. They're making it happen. Contrary to popular belief, you can't actually persuade, you can't actually, if you just let things be, you won't get thousands of people every week to just uproot from their homes and go across the entire world. It has to be organized. It has to be done. These people have to be basically told to do it or persuaded to do it in some way or another. Which is why do you remember when, excuse me, I forgot who it was now, went to Albania to try and persuade them to do something about the human traffickers. It's more likely they were going to visit the human traffickers to just give them more money. So no, I'd love to see pre-decimal money, yeah. It was a travesty in and of itself because the EU owes us billions for all the money we spent building their buildings and infrastructure. We should get that back in the divorce. Maybe we should have a kind of Johnny Depp, Amber Heard type divorce hearing where we accuse each other of all kinds of things. And of course, the public's going to be Team Britain, aren't they? Yeah. I expect at the end of the day, they'll owe us money. Saxon, never get out of the boat. What boat? Tories made a Horlicks of Brexit, but that's not the fault of the 17.4 million. No, they didn't. Well, as soon as Boris was out the way, they immediately brought in people to try and sabotage it. They're still doing that now. Have you seen Maya Tusi's video about that? Maybe I'll show it to you in a minute. But Sax Glenn, I think what you're referring to is we shouldn't. What's the word? We somehow need to be part of this empire, and if we leave it, we're going to be up to our literally up to our neck in water. Like, oh my god. It's like people are behaving as if there's always been this European empire that controls us and we can't survive without it. That's what my Boudica meme was all about. Oh, I'm going to find it somewhere. I'll find it because it's so good. Where is it now? During the 80s and 90s, you could still use shilling coins. Yes, I remember them when I was at school. The old shillings, and they were just used as 5p's. Pete Shaw gave some great speeches against the EU. Yeah, I've not seen them yet, but I know you mean. Yeah, fantastic orator. Diego Rivera, do you think the UK will rejoin the EU in some way, single market? Well, I made a prediction, didn't I? I made a prediction that I made it before even Brexit happened. I made it in 2016 after the vote went through. On referendum day 2016, where I was in happy shock. When I came out of happy shock, I made a prediction. I said, because I didn't realise it would take. I didn't realise it would take until January 2020 even to get bloody Brexit done. But I assumed it would be literally within 2 years. I thought, by 2018 we'd be out. And I said, before the next general election, back then I meant the 2019 one. But now, of course, I mean the 2024-25 one. Because there has to be a general election before January 2025. There's probably going to be one in next year. I said there would be a rejoin alliance of some kind, which would include all the major mainstream politicians. Probably it'll probably be part policy of both Labour and Lib Dems and Conservative. In other words, I mean, what's the difference now between them all? I think Godfrey Bloom put it very well. We have a coalition parliament. There is no opposition in parliament. The only opposition in Parliament there was to the C-word lockdowns. The Tories were bringing in the C-word lockdowns, and Labour was saying they were fighting back, saying, no, it's no good, it won't do. You're not doing it quickly enough or hard enough. There was literally there's only a few backbench MPs in both parties were speaking out against it. Do you remember that the EU wanted an army, including all troops in Britain who were not British, and so not biased? All dictatorships need an army. Yeah, but I think they would include And of course, there's a lot of foreign nationals serving in the British military as it is. They would include, I think, native people. Interestingly, these proposals were introduced. Guess what date? They were introduced to the European Commission, introduced them on June the 24th, 2016. They knew they couldn't do it earlier because they knew they had to get round the Brexit vote first. They thought that the Ramonas would win, and that'll be the end of it, and then they could go full throttle with the EU army. Didn't work. Leaving them in the toilet, and old Junkers was saying, "There is a special place in hell for everyone who voted leave." Yes, there's a special place on the end of my fingers for your ass, Junkers. But anyway, then they introduced this idea of the EU army, which we God, talk about dodging a bullet. Nigel Phillips, hello. Do you think the EU will break up in the next decade? Germans and French want out. Yeah, I'll come to the good news in a minute, Nigel, because as I said, there's this rejoin alliance coming out. I might how many more comments? I might have to skip a few comments. Sorry about that, guys. Depends how many I get. Do you want to say hello to some people who are here? If you have a very important comment and you want me to address it, you might have to repeat it. So cut and paste it. Sinara Zastri, how are you, darling? They could lock us in our homes, but they can't tow dinghies back. Well, do they not have the Coast Guard? Do they not have the Navy? Do they not have the bloody Royal Navy? We stopped the Germans. We stopped Napoleon, for goodness sake. Napoleon tried to cross the Channel with armed corsairs, ships with cannons on them. The Germans sent the bloody Luftwaffe to bomb our cities. But some paid people, people who were given like £2,000 and told to go to Britain by the people traffickers, who were probably funded by the government. They turn up on rubber dinghies, which is, by the way, it's incredibly dangerous to cross 20 miles of open sea in a rubber dinghy, by the way. Some of these guys actually drown on the journey. Do they honestly think we can't somehow stop them? They're not stopping them because it's their scam. It's the government scam. They're doing it because they want to undo Brexit. They want to bring in the New World Order. They want to destroy the country. They want to destroy every country. I'm going to have to skip some comments. Sorry about that. Where are we now? Okay. Thanks for your comments, guys. I'm going to have to skip a few. I want to show you Maya Tusi's video. Yes, once the greatest navy. Yeah, Rule Britannia, as you guys said. Yeah, Rule Britannia. Britannia's a cuck at the moment. Neil, hello, Neil. How are you? Neil Peel, the Paranormal Peep Show. Do tune in. His programs are great. Even the ones without me in are very good. Be careful, the 77th Brigade are taking notes. I've heard of them. Yes, I bet they are. What did Napoleon say to the English? A nation of shopkeepers. Yeah, I think he was being complimentary. Right. I've done all the notice comments. Let's go to. This is fair use, Maya. If you're watching, here we go. I'm just going to find a video for us to watch, then I'll try the share screen thing. He uploads about 6 videos a day, so I can't keep up with him. Let's have a look. Sorry about this, guys. I wasn't going to play this, but I suddenly realised maybe I do need to play this. By the way, Andrew Bridgeton has apologised. Oh God, he shouldn't have done that. Never apologise to these people. Never apologise. Never. I really respect that guy. I think to myself, well, why they should have just because if only all MPs are like him. It's a video. I was going to mean to watch this. It was a few days ago, I remember. See some search terms. No. Let's try EU. There's several. Rishi Sunak surrenders to the EU over ECJ ruling Britain. Let me just. I'll go. I don't want to bore you guys. I'm going now going to do an experiment with share screen. I'll present. That's it. That's what I should do. Share. That's it. Share screen. Sharing is easiest with 2 monitors. Share screen works best on a good computer. Some screens let you share audio. Follow these steps to share a video with audio. Okay. Right, how to share screen. Chrome tab lets you share a video. Any file from your computer to share. What about video? All right, guys. You should be able to see me. Oh, yeah, share system audio. I just click that box. Okay. There we go. Right. Be careful if you're sharing screen audio if you have a guest. They will hear themselves. You're sharing everything you hear, including their voice. This won't happen if you share browser terms. You share audio from that. Got it. I don't have a guest, luckily. So let's go to Maya 2C. Do you see that, guys? Can you all see that? You should be able to see that. Are you seeing this? Rishi Sunak surrenders to the EU over ECJ ruling. Yeah, European Court of Justice. Bloody. You see this? This guy's clearly fighting for them, not us. He's clearly a manager, as he's been called. All right. I saw that. That was Nicola Sturgeon wanting to join the EU through Scotland. That means they're going to do it. If Scotland ever becomes independent, quote, no, not independent, then those bastards will suck it in, won't it? Here we are. Labour's secret plans confirm. Is that the one? Was it? I think it was. Yeah, Sunak and Starmer got together to talk about Britain rejoining. So I've watched so many of these videos, but there's so many. I want to talk later about Germany and France because there's a lot been happening. No, right. Okay, I can't find the video. I'll watch another one. I'll watch that one about Starmer. Where is it? I don't want to disappoint you, but yeah, Germany plots to turn EU into one country, UK. That's why the whole thing started. This is why there was the coup in 2014. I said this to Bowler Hat Man. He didn't believe me. Here are Labour's secret plans. Here we go. All right, Maya, if you're watching, this is a. I'm pleading fair use on this. I won't show the whole thing anyway. I'm going to plead fair use on this.
Brexit betrayal. Another Brexit betrayal is here, everyone. This time orchestrated by the Labour Party and the Shadow Cabinet. We have so many updates for you guys today from all corners of the country and a lot of weird news stories, including Brexit betrayal, which reminds me, hope you all had an amazing Christmas. Is going down because they don't even know who is currently the guardian of independent Britain. We are technically independent, technically sovereign, technically still tied to EU laws. But that aside, we are no longer a member of the European Union. But the fight is back, as usual.
I said this would happen, didn't I? I said it would happen. And it's absolutely true. Even though Brexit did happen, it has not been reversed officially. There's They're already attempting to reverse it de facto before they reverse it de jure. And I knew this would happen.
I've been saying this since 2016 and
So
even
have I, Wire.
2019 onwards. I mentioned, well, let's celebrate the freedoms that we've got. But in reality, do not get complacent because you will accidentally surrender. These people are not going to give up the fight. They're going to continue and continue, these Ramonas and rejoiners, until we are back inside.
Unless we stop them. You see, the whole thing, the whole purpose of it is that you should be able to see me, actually. You should be. I'm in this little pocket here at the side. Yeah, you should. You see. Oh, hang on. I'll get rid of that. I've got. How do I get rid of this pic? How do I get rid of David's comment? Hide her and comment. That's it. Sorry, David's big face was in the middle. David's face was covering up Maya's video. They are, as I said, they are. You can see me there. Yeah, good. Their plan is for a one world government. They want a one world government, and where there will be no nation states. There will be just one. There will be one relationship. There will be no nation states. There will be no communities or countries or of any kind. There will be literally only one relationship in this world state. But it'll be the relationship between the individual and the state. As to quote George Orwell, how he put it very well, there will be no love except love of Big Brother. So let's carry on. Let's carry on with Maya.
The European Union, which will have massive negative consequences.
I should add, the purpose of the EU is to act as a two-stage transition from the original nation-state, sovereign state network, which, let's face it, has existed quite happily for centuries, to the New World Order. And like suggested by none other than Joseph Stalin, world government could be achieved in two stages by creating continental superstates, which would then be merged into the global state. That's their plan. This is why Brexit is such a spanner in the works. Regardless of what happens, it's done. It's a fait accompli. No matter what, no matter what they do now, they can't take that away from us. They can't get over. They can never ever get over the fact that one of the biggest economies, one of the biggest members, one of the biggest linchpins of the European Union, their continental superstate, was lost to them.
Consequences. It's not just about our democracy. It's not just about all the changes that we made over the last few years, everything from all the business industries and sectors, and of course, financially, everything will change. But, fun fact, they don't care about any of this. They only care about their own stability. Now, of course, when it comes to financial stability, which hits the economy, I'm going to be talking about that because there's only one way. Whether you're concerned about cashless society or fiat currency just completely not being stable, the best thing to do is to invest in gold and commodities, which we're going to just having an economic relationship. That's a second. I can see Britain, the Labour Party's shadow cabinet.
Well, the shadow cabinet. He's a horrid little guy. He turned a blind eye to Jimmy Savile, didn't he?
Members have said, over the long run, I can see Britain being a member of the EU again, or at least having an economic relationship that's essentially the same thing.
I'm not shocked. I don't see why I should be shocked, because this is exactly what we always knew that they would do. It's that they would try and take back the ground that they lost. Everything that's happened since 2016 has been about reversing for them the catastrophe of 2016. As I said, literally for a few months, the Illuminati completely lost control of all the political structures of the world. And this ties into everything. And if it happened once, it can happen again. And this is why they're so terrified.
Oh, interesting. They finally said it. We've been ranting about this for years, about the fact that even if you have the close economic ties with the single market, you are essentially inside the European Union. And until now, they've been telling us that we are the crazy ones with our tinfoil hats on.
Yeah, God, yeah. Screwfix whip. That's right. I've watched enough of that. Let's watch another one, because a lot of you will be thinking, oh well, I'll just vote Tory instead. I don't like the Tories, but I don't want Starmer becoming Prime Minister. So what do you do then? Let's have a look. So do you vote for You vote Tory, vote tactically for what did Biden call him? Rashid Sunak. Really? This is your alternative. Oops, sorry, Mike.
News in the most unsurprising news story of the day, Rishi Sunak's government are about to compromise on the jurisdiction and powers of the European Court of Justice in Brexit Britain. We had a referendum, we voted to leave the EU, and then in 2019, 2020, we left the EU, we stopped being an official member of the organization. But where are we now exactly? Because part of our country is still inside the European Union. The rest of the country is still tied to EU laws. And now this row about the Northern Ireland Protocol issue is still continuing, obviously.
This row is meaningless, guys. There's absolutely no. I've tackled this on other videos many times. I can just. Are you guys okay with the comments and things? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry if I skipped some of your comments, guys. The border between Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic has existed for over a century. It was actually founded during the formation of the Irish Free State, which I think was 1920, thereabouts. And it has, under the Anglo-Irish Agreement, it meant, for example, that there'd be free movement between the two sides of this border, between the two parts of Ireland, the two states. Also, everyone who lived on both sides of that border was entitled to a passport, both of the Irish Free State and the UK. And it's one of the most functional borders that has ever existed. It functioned perfectly well before any EU regulation began. As I said, really, it's only the only serious move towards creating European unity began with the Brussels Treaty of 1946, and that was just like a military thing. Then it was added onto the common market, and other things were added onto it. And now suddenly, shock horror, we have terrible problems with this border. The problems are a deliberate obstacle that will be thrown in the way. That it's not a border, which it's not a natural outcome of this particular border and Brexit at all. They're just using it as an excuse. They're trying to use the Northern Ireland Protocol and this border as a kind of hook to keep us into the European Union. And it's a completely artificial problem. It's a fake problem.
Every single day.
I think Meyer understands.
And Rishi Sunak, Jeremy Hunt, these guys decided to just give up and say, well, let's just do a bit of a compromise. Their counter offer to the EU, because one of the issues we have is about the powers of the European Court of Justice, ECJ, inside Britain, even though we are not really a member of the EU.
Yeah, so why didn't you just tell this European Court Justice to get stuffed? Why don't you just say we've had Brexit? We don't. Sorry,
they still have powers.
There. Why don't they just tell them to get stuffed? They don't want to, do they? Sunak doesn't want to. Sunak wants it's. You could just tell these buggers to get stuffed, and we could organise our own relationship. We could set up a bilateral trade agreement with the Republic of Ireland, but they won't let us do it. Well, Ireland can't set up any of its own bilateral trade agreements because it's still an EU member state.
So it sounds quite rare for me to say, but in defense of Boris Johnson and Liz Truss as prime ministers, those two, that was the red line. They said in these negotiations, because we have to rewrite the Northern Ireland Protocol or get rid of it. They said, well, the red line we have is ECJ. We don't want it to have any power in this country.
Well, they're both gone, aren't they? Why are they both gone? That's why they're gone. Because this is what I don't think Liz Truss was even meant to win that election before. She was out in no time at all, wasn't she? She was the second shortest sitting prime minister in British history.
Now, it was all obviously talks. Nothing got done. But still, the United Kingdom's government is this. The ECJ.
Look at that smiling little rat. Oh, who's that? Who's that? I forgot the name of that twat next to him. I don't care. They all look the same.
To be supplemented with an independent arbitration panel. So they're going to basically turn the ECJ. It's basically smokes and mirrors. Turn it into, you can still be a referee between Britain and the Republic of Ireland when it comes to any trade issues, any discussions, any row that happens in the
Independent arbitration. Well, how can it be independent arbitration if is part of the European Court and Ireland is a member state? I mean, that's not independent arbitration. It's obvious they just want to increase the power of this court over this country.
future. But can you guys just act as an independent referee? ECJ,
Exactly.
independent referee. Every time the EU, Brussels, want to
Let's go
sue one of their own member states, and they do it every 10 minutes. They
That's
take
it.
them to court.
That's it. That's. I think that's it. Get the message now. So, what do I do now? If I press remove there, I should go. Oh, I go back. Oh, hello, Jane Pickford. How are you? Macron arranged for a meeting in Cyprus the 9th of October last year. Britain was asked to decide whether or not to sign up to a new economic treaty with the UN. Never heard any more about it. Oh, if it's outside the news, Jane, that's probably because they don't want people knowing about it. Okay, I'll tell you what. Should we have let's see what's Bowler Hat Man doing? Let's have a look at Bowler Hat Man. Now, this is a guy I had a debate with, which he claims he won, and I claim I won. Okay, there we go. So I do that. There we go. Now as I said, this is. I don't think Maya would make a fuss about it, but Bolly might try to flag my video. I'm not going to let him. Let's see what he's saying here. Brexit will also seed of another bank crash. Brexit Britain most longful asset is space. What have you got here? He's a big time Ramona, this guy. Northern Ireland. He's having got the Northern Ireland Protocol from a Conservative home point of view. Let's just see what he has to say. As you see, I've already watched this.
If you think about it.
There we go. Can you see that, guys? You should be able to. Yes, you can. Good. This should be funny anyway. This should be a laugh.
And essentially.
Oh, and then, oh God, he's had someone's shorn him. His wife or girlfriend has just shaved all his hair off.
You may remember a couple of weeks ago
you can't do bald like me, Bolly. Stop pretending.
Was the big announcement by Jeremy Hunt calling what were dubbed as the Edinburgh reforms. And essentially, this was a massive move of deregulation, particularly aimed at financial services. And as we've always said,
I think it's ironic he has the flag. He always has the flag of Yorkshire in his background. That flag will, if the EU take full power, that flag will be banned.
To talk about regulations, regulations there are often there for a reason.
Yeah, usually it's a bad reason. If it's from the EU, it's for a bad reason. I'm become something of a libertarian capitalist, and I think maybe we should give a deregulated economy a chance.
And these regulations were put in the wake of the 2008 financial crash, where we realized that actually having completely unregulated financial services, banks, you name it, was probably a very bad idea to begin with.
Oh, for goodness sake, I've just been watching another video. I think it was Stefan Molyneux, I can't remember, saying that the regulations actually caused that crash.
And that we were lucky that we at least managed to get away with it for so long before they absolutely, crashed the car.
I'm not going to watch. We're not playing all 11 minutes of this.
Those regulations were put in place. So, what is, of course, Rishi Sunak's first move? Not only just Rishi Sunak's, but of course Jeremy Hunt's as well. Let's get rid of these financial regulations because this will somehow, hopefully, turbocharge the economy. However, this could actually absolutely have the opposite effects.
But you see, they're having. I think this is very interesting. They have the opposite. The effects of the economy is crashing anyway because of the way the the government has, firstly, they had this engineered backlash to 2016, which involved, as I've explained, I'll just have to take Jane's comment off there. It removed, for example, it basically shut down everything, shut down small businesses, shut down trade. And of course, this has caused a huge reverberation around the economy today. Plus the fact now there's this engineered conflict with Russia, which Ollie and I, we did a debate about this, if you remember, have completely opposite views on what is the cause of that. Tell you what, I think it's not going to be very interesting. I think I'm going to put a comment on here. Here we go. I've already thumbed it down. I'm still glad I'll say, I'll put in capitals, happy Brexit Day, BHM. I'll put that's good, and I'll put an emoji on here. There we are. That grinning face emoji. Happy Brexit Day. There we go. Up yours, Ollie. Okay, guys. There we go. All right. So, how are you getting on? How are you guys getting on in chat? Here we go. Most Remainers either don't understand or value the sovereignty of people groups and their respective societies and cultures when it comes to their view of the UK and the EU, mostly via ignorance. Yeah, I think the Remainer phenomenon. The Remainer phenomenon was a horrible surprise to me, David. I didn't think it would happen. I honestly didn't think after the referendum that there would be this incredible. Was it? I play what as Sargon described it. Sargon of Akkad gets really angry about it when he did this thing. There would be this attempt to completely subvert all the democratic principles of this nation, and basically to blame and to castigate everyone who made this decision, and just denounce them and just say, well, because they made this decision, we should disenfranchise them. Because we don't like it. I mean, it was incredibly juvenile, and it was incredibly spiteful. And you see the same thing. It's reflected very much in the Trump derangement syndrome in the United States. And I had no idea so many people were so dishonest, because they're not all the Illuminati. I mean, 6 million odd people signed this disgusting petition, just saying, we don't care what the vote was. We want it reversed because we lost and we still want our way. 6 million people signed that. This isn't just people in government. These are just ordinary people. Hello, Arrow01. Welcome. Labour is still far too woke. They're obsessed with employing too many women in the name of diversity. Quality MPs have gone downhill. Oh, definitely. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, there's some really great women MPs, just not many. But I think they're bringing in things with their commitment to, we got to have more women in Parliament. We must have women in charge. Well, they're just bringing in any women. I mean, I'll just say, well, because she's a woman, she's better than a man. That is feminism completely down the line. This social engineering of all of, you get this everywhere. You get it in universities. You get it in every institution. You get this idea. There's too many white men here. We need to. What's that? We even get this in bloody UFO conferences and things. Balance. We need balance. I've done an entire video slagging that whole attitude off. It's called Women in Ufology. Now, if they obviously, like, if they were all like Kemi Badenoch or something, I'd say, yeah, go for it. But of course, they're not, are they? In fact, none of them are, apart from her. And there's Andrew Bridgeton, who was a white male. Bleh. If they were all principled, decent people, who had who had a sense of morality. They had some courage. They had self-discipline. They had maturity, and they had all these things. Then great, but they're not. Most of them are not. So yeah, WEF engineered disorder out of chaos. Yep, build back better. We keep hearing that everywhere, don't you? Of course, the whole thing. They've rushed 50 years of New World Order reforms into half a decade. And people said, they're not scared, they've won. I hear people lamenting, their victory is complete. What are they scared of then? If they're not scared of us, what are they scared of? They're scared of something. The bad guys, after 2016, they went nuts. Something really spooked them. They're frightened of something. I wonder what it is. Many incompetent MPs are easier to control and manipulate. Yeah, you just pay them, and that's all. They just pay them and give them posh dinners and things. That's all they care about. Very few people who get into politics because they really want to change the world ever get to that level. They ever get to that particular level. Yeah, I agree, David. Yeah, we've done that, been through that. Hello, TK. How do you do? TK, how did the New World Order remember to keep the free energy and aliens a secret while dealing with the fine details of Brexit? I think they have different teams to do all these things, TK, and then at the higher level you get like the central controllers pulling all the strings, So look. Sorry, I have to skip a few of these. Barry, hello, Barry Fridge. Ben, what's your favourite Brexit opportunity? I don't know. I don't know what you mean, Barry. Sorry. Hugo, sorry, I'm British, not English. I know, mate. I know. So now, the last general election was basically the second referendum. It was indeed. Unfortunately, then something happened to Boris Johnson. I mean, maybe some people said he was cloned when he went into hospital, and that's not Boris Johnson. I don't know. Whatever the reason is, he's whatever the reason is. Excuse me. He came out just singing from the song sheet of the WEF and the Bill Gates and things like that. As soon as the lockdown hit, he just he just joined the COVIDocracy. It's like you couldn't, he merged seamlessly with the Merkels and the Macrons and the rest of them, the Bidens and everything. It was like he was a different person. He was like a totally different person. Hugo, English is German. I do speak German too. English is a Germanic language. That's from the family Germanic. Yes, so English is closely related to German. That's right. You can speak both. Yeah. Welsh Ripper Diane Abbott comes to mind. Oh God, I don't like it when she comes to my mind. I'll tell you. Hello, Hatchy. Oh, I'm proper English. Good on you, mate. Nothing as it seems. Who would trust Brussels after what they did to Greece? Yeah, see, Greece also had its own Boris. He had Georgios Tsipras, who was kind of the Boris Johnson Trump of Greece. But he got into power. That's the Syriza movement. He got into power on this populist platform. First thing he did was because he had so many promises. He was going to say he was just going to default on the debt. In fact, they had that referendum, didn't they? And the referendum, the choice of the referendum, I remember was Ochi. I remember the word Ochi because it means it's got nothing to do with darts. Ochi means no in Greece. The people voted no. In other words, they voted. They voted to tell the European Central Bank to get stuffed. They told this was what he would. So Tsipras was elected on a mandate in the same way Boris was elected on the mandate of Brexit. Now, as soon as Tsipras was in government, he basically did a U-turn, which is very disappointing. He went to Germany. He took a visit to Hamburg to the I thought it was Deutsche Bank or something, and asked them to borrow money to pay off the debts from the ECB. Did he always plan to do that? And he lied to the Greek people. That was very disappointing. So, see, he's another Boris. He was elected as a populist. Tsipras was elected as a populist and then betrayed his populist mandate. The only populist who's not betrayed, I think, deliberately betrayed his populist mandate is Trump. Trump didn't. Hugo's got spacebar problems. Hugo, you got no spacebar problems. The problems you've got are like It's not a problem, mate. It's just it's national. It's just the way people say New World Order. What's this? All right, Chica, are the New World Order doing a good job? No, they were in the biggest trouble they've been for ages. That's it. Snarnock says, do you remember when it officially came out that David Cameron used his Ramona position to make money for himself at the nation's expense? I think if that came out, I just probably don't remember it because it was just such a predictable development. Hello, Bob Gamer 4YT. Ben, do we need to increase the defence budget to stop the EU? I've changed my mind on a lot of things virtually when it comes to defence policy in the last few years. For example, I used to be anti-Trident. I'm not anymore. I think right now would be. I mean, I hate the idea of nuclear weapons. I mean, I like everyone. I mean, no, but I don't think anyone likes nuclear weapons and likes the idea of nuclear war. But I don't think now would be a very good time for Britain to give up our independent nuclear deterrent. I think we should maybe ditch the American ammunition as well, because at the moment we have British submarines armed with Trident. This Trident is an American missile system. We should probably design our own, and so we can then become completely independent American control. Not that America allegedly does not control our nuclear deterrent, because it's controlled completely from Whitehall. But I would say right now we shouldn't abandon our nuclear deterrent. I think we shouldn't enter into any military treaties, certainly with the EU, and no new military treaties at all. I think we should get out of NATO. That's a big subject, but I think basically, yeah, I mean, defence policy, increased defence budget. I don't know exactly what budget is necessary right now, but whatever it is, we need to do it. I think it may, if Brexit Britain goes forward under a leadership which is anti-globalist, I think we are going to need. We're going to need lots of guns, I think. Hugo says, Nision, Ben. Yes, I have a spliff on the go. Thigo, you do have a spacebar product, but it's my medication. I know, mate. I know. It's not Viktor Orban. Yeah, he's the Prime Minister of Hungary. He's actually quite a based chap, if I remember. I quite respect him. Did you, Ben, says David, did you read the nuclear sub superglue story in the press today? No, what's that? They're not holding them together with superglue, are they? It's more than possible. Here we are, Jane. It's more than possible that Boris was blackmailed, threatened, or compromised in some way at the time to make him toe the line. He did disappear for a while after hospital, so disappointing. Jane, I think that's quite likely. I think they do. This is how they control people. And I mean, let's face it. I mean, Boris does not have the kind of self-discipline a man in his position needs. He doesn't have the maturity, I think. If a politician who makes that decision to go against the political mainstream, if you're gonna do that, I wrote an article today actually, which probably none of you have read it, but I'll show you. It's this article here. There we go. It's this article here. Happy Brexit Day 2023. You can go and read it. It's okay. You can go and read it another time. But if you're going to do what Boris did, and Boris, see, you know how fond I was of Boris when he first came about, when he first appeared. I'm not going to delete any of the things I published back then. I'm going to allow my mistakes and my mind changes to be there for people to see. He was, if you're going to do what he did at that time, you need to be whiter than white. You need to. What was that? We're talking about the Navy just now, as they say in the Navy. Keep your yardarm clear, which basically means you've got to be aware of your reputation, and you've got to be aware of things you might have done or said at any time in your life that might be used just at a certain point to smear your reputation. This is why I could never be a politician, because I've got too much baggage. Indeed, even outside politics, people are coming up with all kinds of things I've said and done, and using it to smear me, the trolls and things like that. The trolls they've been doing offence archaeology on me. You wouldn't believe. One of the Droid trolls actually contacted Peter Robbins and showed him material I posted in like 2009 or something. And Boris, of course, then he not only does he may have a past, and you said it's possible he was compromised because of something he's done in his past. He doesn't want coming out. Maybe something he doesn't want Carrie to know about. Shall we say that? Maybe he's got some children somewhere, that she doesn't know about, and he hasn't told anyone. I mean, he's a bit of a ladies' man, isn't he? Things like that. You've got to be whiter than white. And not only doesn't he seem to be unaware of that. The next thing you know, he's actually, even while he's in office, he's doing things which make him incredibly vulnerable to this sort of thing. Partygate. What do you think? Do you think he was the only one? Do you honestly think that Emmanuel Macron kissed his grandmother through a pane of glass? Do you think that Kamala Harris sung Christmas carols on Zoom with her family? Of course not. They all break their own rules. They're all hypocrites. The difference is Boris has been singled out for this treatment. Do you remember Beergate with Keir Starmer? That was buried quickly, wasn't it? Yeah. Which is why you've got to be aware of these things. You must, if you're going to be in Boris's position, you must resist the temptation at all times not to abuse your authority in the way he has. This is what I mean when he lacks the maturity, he lacks the self-discipline. That's what I meant. If someone in his position, I mean, if you were really, really vulnerable, if you really have like these open doors to your reputation, these lowered drawbridges to your reputation that your enemies are going to exploit, it's better you don't even run for office at all. Just try and recruit someone else who's not such an idiot as you and get them to do the job for you. I'm not keen on Vorderman, just desperate. Oh, right. Yeah, that was that. Oh, yeah, and Carol Vorderman, she said she was a bit swinger. Oh, God, yeah. That's not relevant area, but yeah. Bob Gamer 4YT says, what's the best thing Brexit has done for us? Right now, Bob Gamer, I think it is symbolic. It's more symbolic than anything else now. Obviously, Brexit is a half-baked cake, and it was meant to be. In fact, the heat was turned off basically as soon as it happened. And the entire lockdown was a bucket of water poured over the oven. But they can't take away the fact that it happened. They can't take away the fact that 2016 happened. Even if the rejoiners managed to somehow get us back on course and get us back, basically undo everything, get us back in the EU. Even if Donald Trump is never president again, the fact that we had Brexit, I think that alone is 3/4 of the job done. Which is why I think the best thing Brexit has done for us is that it acts as a symbol. It's a symbol of freedom, even though it is not actual freedom. This is why we should celebrate. We should never. This is why I do these live streams and write those articles, so we remember it. TK, are you pro? Or TK, you can work that out, surely. Snarnock, yeah, I don't go along with this idea that the whole thing was staged, that Brexit was simply staged as a confidence trick. This is Richard D. Hall's position. This is what many people have said. Richard thinks, as you know, Richard thinks everything is staged. And I've said before how there are certain people within the dissident circles who literally believe nothing can ever happen which seems to be doing good. Nothing. Everything. If you see something that looks like it's a step, it's something progressive. It's a step in the right direction. Progressive in the positive way, not the negative way. It's just a deeper part of the conspiracy, man. It's just the New World Order getting more and more crafty. I can see it because I'm superior to you and you can't. So I'm going to strut around looking down my nose at you, man. So by that logic, the New World Order can never be seen to end. Richard and Andrew Johnson and people like that, literally, we could be in the post-Illuminati world right now. And they're still going to be peeking around corners going, my goodness, they're so crafty. They're so crafty. And all these people believe it. All these people believe the New World Order is gone. Oh, good. Let me just slap your back, Andrew. And Andrew, could you slap mine? Oh, God, we're so superior, aren't we? We're so much better than these minions. Yeah. TK, how is Brexit related to the paranormal? How long do you want this live stream to be? Diego Rivera, Boris Johnson's father worked for Stanley Johnson, yeah. Now, I've got a copy of his book somewhere. Where is it? I ordered his book deliberately. It's become a bit of a bestseller now, and apparently it's apparently a bit pressing. It's all about population reduction and disease and stuff like that. It's kind of a science fiction novel. Hugo Rune, what's this? I lived for years in Holland, but cannot now. I prefer to be out. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the Netherlands because my mother was Dutch. Yeah. Yep, Stanley Patrick Johnson, a French Englishman. Oh my goodness me! So Boris has got a bit of frog in him, has he? So he was an EU MEP, was he? Oh dear. Can skip a few comments. Sorry, guys. Oh, Jake Yorkman, how you doing? I'll try and feature people I've not featured yet. The way Boris was treated was a disgrace. It was a witch hunt. The same techniques the media tried with Trump. Boris was the best PM since Churchill, and he got the country through so many major events. I think he was mistreated very badly, and it was a disgrace. The problem was, in a sense, he handed them the gun to shoot him. It was a witch hunt. They tried with Trump, but couldn't because Trump was better defended. If Jake, you've seen the videos where I praise Boris enormously. I used to think he was the best PM since before Churchill, I would say. He got Brexit done. He could have. Just think how different it would have been, Jake, if Boris had not, if he had found a way to keep being the Boris he was in 2019. He would have told Bill and Melinda Gates to get stuffed. We'd have had no lockdown. All this stuff with Sunak is doing now with the ECJ, that wouldn't be happening. All the things that Maya Tusi's been talking about wouldn't be happening. He would still be on our side. He would be like Reform UK. He'd be telling Starmer to get lost. There'd be a real opposition in Parliament. I mean, and he would have been re-elected on a landslide in 2024. He could have been great, and he wasn't. He was great, and he ceased to be. So, I mean, I don't see him quite like you do, Jake, but I like the way he used to be. Okay, new comments. Oh, Jake mentions the seatbelt story. Yeah, of course. He got a fine, didn't he? Well, the guy's worth what? He's worth like 800 million. He got the same fine as you or I would get. It's like it's nothing to him. He's still talking about Stanley Johnson. Stan the man, very high up in royal circles. Yeah, I've seen a couple of interviews with him as well. Jake says, Ben, did you see my reply to some numpty's comment on your announcement video for this live? He lost the argument. Yeah, oh goodness me, maybe it's on Gmail. I saw the thread. That was it, Jake. I was thinking to myself. There's a thread I can go into, and I looked at it. It's not there now. I was thinking, surely there was more comments on there. So he deleted his thread, did he? Oh, where is it now? Here we go. Dearie me. Yeah, here we go. Oh, no, that's sweeps. Oh, it's gone. Even my email notification is gone. I don't suppose you saved it, did you, Jake? Well, thanks very much. Thanks for fighting back against these bloody numpties anyway. I would have done it myself, but yeah. Does Unwashed have a YouTube channel? I think he's been banned, like all the best people. I think the video I'm going to be in is going to be on Odyssey. He said he'd be able to upload it tomorrow. But the problem is, but my internet failed 45 minutes in, and Alan's failed as well. So I think he's banned from YouTube, but he's on Odyssey. It's called Scum Media. It's a good name. Hi, Era, do you see a correlation between the C word and Brexit? Interesting timing that it destroyed our economy and forced us down another route. Yes, Era, I've been kind of talking about that because I believe the C word was a reaction to Brexit. It was basically a retaliatory strike against everything that happened in 2016. Trump, Brexit, the whole 2016 phenomenon. Welsh Ripper. All right. Okay, where we got now? So as always, I skip a few comments. Now, I want to bring something else up, right? There's something else on my list. Notes, hang on. Something strange happened. Couple of months ago. And this was only covered very briefly in the news. What's this? StreamYard is what? StreamYard is all right. Okay, that's all right. Hide that. Okay, now StreamYard's still on. Something happened in Germany. Now, do you remember me talking about the letter that the generals had written? The generals in France, that is, ex-generals of the military and senior military officers, had written a letter to Macron, essentially threatening to carry out a coup d'état. Now, France is naturally a very unstable society. It's very different from Britain. I actually wrote an article about it. Who is it? It's actually, by the way, I've got a Brexit portal. Let me just show you my Brexit portal. You'll understand where I'm going with this in a minute. Where is it? Brexit. Here we go. If you want to know more, I have an entire Brexit portal. Where is it? Here we go. Share screen, present. Share screen. Share audio system. There we go. Share. There we go. Okay, got it. Okay. This is my Brexit portal. It's got everything on it. It's what I've already posted a link to the show notes I posted for this. See all these articles you can read, all these Hapanmo TV videos, Hapanmo radio shows, even an old Hapanmo article I wrote in, when was it? 2008. I've been a Brexiteer that long. Now, where's that thing to do with France? All right, it's not on there. Okay. Let's go to Hapanmo Voice. Here we go. Let's have a look, because I wrote an article about this. Got loads of articles. Here we go. A warning from France. This is it. There's no need. I don't need to see it. There's the article. You can read it. I'm just going to use it for notes right now. But I make the point here. That France is it's compared to Britain, it's a naturally unstable society. We go through various crises in Britain. We always stop for tea and things like that. The French don't stop for tea. When they have a constitutional crisis, they tend to have riots and civil war and lots of people being beheaded in the streets and things like that. 2 open letters have been sent to President Emmanuel Macron. The second one was published in a magazine called Valeur and was signed by over 1,000 people, mostly military servicemen. Now I'll show it to you now. This is an article which I'll show you, but it's all in French, and I don't speak it. So here we go. You can, if you want to have a look at this, especially if you speak French, you might find this interesting. But this is the article we're talking about here. I'm going to come on to Germany in a minute because something very interesting has happened in Germany. Basically, Marine Le Pen was very keen on this. She was very supportive of this. She said, it's a warning that the country's heading for civil war and a possible coup d'etat. And it's interesting, actually. I think there's a good reason why we English speakers have never invented our own word for that, and we just borrowed the French one. It's a lot of people have forgotten about this. and I suppose it's understandable considering the time that's passed and how it's been buried by the media. France is already under martial law. France has been under martial law since November 2015 during the Paris attacks, which were staged events. That it was the state of emergency created at that time has not been lifted. It's never been lifted. So there's already military on the streets doing law enforcement in many cities of France. Now what's happening is France is like I think the government want Britain to be in 20 years' time. There's a massive immigration, terrible immigration, massive wokeness. There's deliberate radicalization of the Muslim population, which has led to massive amounts of violence, vandalism against churches, including Notre Dame. That fire was not an accident. Oh, luckily the damage was not as bad as it could have been. I went to Paris when I was a little kid on a school trip when I was about 15 or so, and it was very, very nice. People who go there now say it's like an open air refugee camp, and this is being encouraged, not allowed to happen. It's being made to happen by Macron and his partner's government. And I think what happened, it's been so long since. Remember I did a live stream about the French presidential election. Macron, he's basically a cardboard cutout globalist representative. They don't even call them. These people don't even describe themselves as leaders anymore. And the same goes for Sunak. The same goes for Biden. They're not leaders of their country. They are representatives within the global community. Macron is. What is it about him? See, this guy, this horrible little squid. And you say the same. The same goes for all these other horrible people. You know, Trudeau, Biden, Merkel. They're like mountains. They're as immovable as mountains. Once they're there, they just seem to stay there, and you can't get rid of them. There's now been two whole elections where Marine Le Pen has tried to get him out and failed. And this guy, he literally seems to be rooted to the spot. Apparently, he's not going to run in the next election. Why should he? They'll find some other little gimp to do his job for him. Another horrid little oily lying deep state pimp. And now I think the last election was a bit of a turning point because there were some videos going out about how the ballot papers were like cut across the corner. Do you remember that? And I think this is becoming more and obvious. I mean, I've never covered the situation in Brazil, which of course has. And the reason I never said anything about Brazil is basically it's the same thing is happening in Brazil that happened in the United States. It's almost like a cardboard cutout of what happened during the last US presidential election. You get exactly the same thing. You get the F graphs. You get, guess what? We just suddenly found another couple of boxes of ballot papers. Oh, they were all under here. Oh, my goodness me. They were all for the opposition candidate. Oh, what's his name? Luna, whatever his name. Juno. What's his called? What's his name? Well, I can never. Oh, we go. President of Brazil, whose name is Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. That's him. They suddenly found boxes full of this guy, boxes of ballot papers. Every single one was for this guy Lula da Silva. Every single one. Just a coincidence, nothing to worry about. And this has led, and there was a massive protest in Brasilia. I mean, the government buildings were actually occupied by protesters. I mean, it's like this is, and of course, election interference and electoral fraud in South America is not exactly a new thing. The CIA has been doing it for decades. And now there's so much awareness now that it's happening. And the last US presidential election, and indeed this one in France, has also been enormously educational. It has mainstreamed the idea. And the problem now, if the political system it can no longer be used by the white hats, and I believe there are white hats. I believe in, well, I've done this all tech exclusive. Why the what is real? The little 17th letter. I believe there are white hats, but if the white hats cannot use the electoral the normal democratic electoral process to defeat their enemies, the enemies of the state, the enemies of the nation, the illegal occupation state. What are they going to do? What other options are there on the cards? And this is what these letters are about. The democratic process itself now is occupied by the very same forces of global technocratic uniformity. So if there are white hats, and if the people writing these letters represent the white hats, the same movement for freedom that President Trump does and what Boris used to be, they are the people who have the force. They have the loyalty of the armed forces behind them. I think they should use that force. I think their only option now is to use that force. And I don't like saying that. I know the implications of what could happen. But what is I said that the last presidential election in France would be a turning point. That decision would be made. That is a year ago now. It happened a year ago. It could be that now the time has come for action of a different kind. And if the generals carry out their promise in France, my first instinct will be to rejoice. And then I came across this. Well, this was very briefly mentioned in the news last year. It was actually in December. 25 people in Germany were arrested. The group was called Patriotic Union. They were a member of a group called Patriotic Union. They were a suspected far-right terrorist group. Right? Whenever they say far-right terrorist group, they probably mean just a bunch of white people who don't hate themselves. I mean, it could be something as innocuous as that. They're part of the German far-right extremists. That's what they call all of us that. When they say far-right extremists, they very often simply mean, peaceful, peace-loving people who won't go along with this horrible globalist mainstream. That's all it means. It's got this image of a guy with a skinhead and a baseball bat. It's a false image. And their group aimed to re-establish a monarchist government in Germany in the traditions of I can't say that word on YouTube, or the German Empire. The group allegedly wanted to provoke chaos and civil war in Germany so it could take power. Around 5,000 police searched 130 locations. It was one of the biggest police operations in German history. And one of the people who was arrested, Heinrich Prince Reuss, a former aristocrat from the House of Reuss, a former Alternative for Germany MP, and also Brigitte Malsack-Winkelmann. Apparently, she was a judge. Apparently, so these high-level people, these were like, this operation against the group is considered to be the largest in Germany's history. And the public prosecutor, Peter Frank, declared the group to be a terrorist organization. Yeah, likely story. The terrorists are the ones in control. The terrorists are the ones propping up the Ukrainian regime, the criminal Vladimir Zelensky. Prosecutors reported that approximately more than 50 organizers were Reichsbürger movement members, a cluster of far-right groups. Oh, yeah. I have to say that every time. Oh, yeah. The plotters included... this is interesting. The plotters included the 17th letter followers, based, and C-word deniers, double based. Good, my kind of people. The federal public prosecutor has 52 suspects and arrested 25 of them. 23 remain in custody. The group included several members of the Special Forces Command, including a former lieutenant colonel of the parachute battalion of the Bundeswehr. So he's a high-level Special Forces person. called the KSK. They're like special forces groups, rather like the SAS. Ideology and aims. Apparently, the group was inspired by the 6th of January Capitol Hill attack. Well, I've already done an entire video about that, about the nonsense that's been told about that. They were radicalized by the German Querdenken movement. Now, Querdenken, I actually looked this up. I actually listened to an interview about this. Funnily enough, it was on when I was doing my research for this particular topic, and one of the places where I found a lot of information was on this the YouTube channel of the Socialist Workers' Party. They had a very left-wing person doing an interview about it. Oh no, it was sorry, it was I Don't Speak German. It's an ironic name. Yeah, I Don't Speak German is, believe it or not, is actually a left-wing podcast. And they were interviewing this German journalist all about this, and I got a lot of information from there. Of course, they were all saying how horrible these people were, and how they wanted to overthrow democracy and destroy Germany and turn Germany and resurrect Mr. H and things like that. And I listened to it and I thought, well, that's probably when they use rhetoric like that, it's probably a sign these people are simply, they're not bad guys. They're probably the good guys. They're probably the white hats. They're probably the 17th letter people. As a result, I don't know specifically. Hello, Nocturnal Frequency Radio. How do you do? I don't know specifically who these people were, what they really wanted, whether they really were white hats. I've only literally just started looking into this. However, from what I gather, they seem to be inspired by a lot, I think, genuinely freedom-loving movements. I mean, like the 17th letter, things like that. I know not everyone believes in it. A lot of people think it's not real. And the fact that the media is just denouncing them as evil, evil, horrible, genocidal maniacs and things like that, it probably means they're simply, like I said, they're probably not really bad. They probably don't want something. They don't want to resurrect Mr. H, really. They just want their country to be free from the grip of the NATO globalist deep state, which it's been a part of for so long. Literally, you could trace the destruction of Germany back to World War II, and the pale husk that was dragged out of it, the divided between the NATO forces of the capitalist deep state in the West and the communist forces of the socialist deep state in the East that was running the Soviet Union, which, of course, these two sides in the Cold War were really one side that were orchestrating the whole thing as a phony sham. So let me just find out any more about this. I don't know if I can find it anymore. They were stockpiling weapons. There was definitely an attempt. They were going to storm the Bundestag, the government building in Berlin. The conspirators planned to cooperate with Russia. Now, I don't think that, of course, that's going to be used as rhetoric, isn't it? They're obviously on the same side as that nasty old Mr. Putin. They must be horrible. When actually, as you know, in fact, to have a government come to power in Germany, which would stop taking part in this illegal war, form a closer bond with Russia, would be something very, very positive. Someone asked earlier on, is the EU finished? I mean, Germany and France want to leave. Well, as I said, not yet, because at the moment, France and Germany do have treasonous occupation governments running them. But hopefully that situation will not last much longer. I mean, as I said, if this coup attempt had actually succeeded, how should I react? Should it be shock horror, or should it be give these guys a chance? They may be on our side. As I said, with France too. All right. Jake, yes, I'm sick of hearing about Capitol Hill. It was an inside job to try and get rid of Trump. Precisely. They were let in. The doors were opened, and the people just and people would just say, "Come on in." They literally almost invited them in, and then these people wandered about. The repair bill was like $45. The repair bill was $45 to the Capitol building. Oh, and Nancy Pelosi's laptop, that was stolen. I mean, honestly, that building was shelled and set on fire in 1812 by the Royal Navy during the Anglo-American War. The place was gutted by fire. And people are comparing it to that. They say this was the last time the Capitol building was attacked, and going back to the Anglo-American War. $45. The repair bill was $45. Oh dearie me! People didn't even. They were these rioters, these invaders. They wandered. They were so civilized. They didn't even step over the swags that had been set up to protect the paintings and things like that. Oh, good grief! TK says here, must be powerful as hell, the New World Order, organising all the world's governments and controlling markets and keeping everything like ghosts, aliens and free energy a secret. I wouldn't want to try it, TK. I don't think I could juggle all those balls, personally. But they do. I mean, they do all these things. But they can't do it forever. They're not all powerful. It's important to realise, their ability, their power is limited. What's this? All right, yeah. This is yep. I can't go into detail on that, Welsh Ripper, because this, it's not just this video. YouTube will remove the video or something like that. It's just some people watching this video could go to jail if I talk about that in detail. They could literally go to jail in some countries. And so basically, I mean, even an Old Tech exclusive, if I talk about this and some of my viewers go there, you go to jail. But it's safe to say, like many wars, like all these wars that go around, World War II is presented as it's so black and white. It's all good guys versus bad guys, and then you look into it in more detail and you realize that it's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as that at all. But Welsh River has brought up something that did happen in history. There are newspaper headlines you can find out saying there was the seeds for war did exist before the war started. Does anyone else have any more comments? I've been going for nearly 2 hours. I can't think of anything else to say about the Brexit situation. I wonder if Ollie's replied. Let's have a look. I'm just going to see if Bowler Hat Man has replied to my comment. No, he hasn't. Oh, Sweeps, yeah. Sweeps, I hope you enjoyed it, Sweeps. Sweeps hasn't posted in chat, but... No, I've got a few comments from people, but nothing from Bolly. If he may have deleted my comment, I don't know. Yeah, the New World Order does have many compartments. TK says it must be massive and have many compartments. It does. It does. So much so they're even in this chat, yes. So you've got no... We do have... What? Of course we have a chance. Look, TK, if we did have a chance... Why are they... I mean, I think the biggest indicator that we have a chance is that currently the bad guys, the deep state, are trying so desperately. They're so desperately trying to basically cram, as I said, half a decade's New World Order reforms into 5 years. Sorry, other way around. 50 years of New World Order reforms into half a decade. What's this here? Something about Bolly. I've given you a thumbs up on the BHM video. Oh, thank you, Snarnock. Much appreciated. I won't be giving it a love heart from Bolly, though, won't I? I just thought I've got to say something to Bolly on Brexit Day, though, won't I? TK, I'm currently gender fluid. Others prefer not to say. Right. Well, make sure you don't pour yourself down a drain if you're fluid. But TK, I'm not interested in your personal life, quite frankly. I mean, I think um, going on about other people's private lives is overrated. I don't get it. Trump and Musk are the ones to watch in the next few years. I think Musk will run with Trump's help, who controls the sky space. I think Trump is already running for president. The question is, I mean, what's going to if Trump wins? We've got to wait till November next year before the election happens. He won't be inaugurated until January 2025. I mean, that's a long time to wait. It's too long. So they have won. No, they haven't won. They've far from won. Have you ever tried vaping, Ben? No, I've never smoked. Well, Shripper, we must dream, or we never have a dream come true. Yes, exactly. Dream of Bally High and dames. I love that film. There is nothing like a dame. Nothing at all. Okay. Welsh Ripper. Ben, I'm a man. All right, you are Welsh. I'll call you he. I suppose those are your pronouns, aren't they? Because, of course, I don't know I don't necessarily know what gender, if any, people in the chat box have. I just see your names, and I sometimes, like, of course, Martin Taylor, I assume is a man because it's got a boy's name. What's this? Snarnock. Drakeford and Sturgeon. Oh, let's bring up some of the two horrible people. Two of my least favourite people. Drakeford. What was his name? Mark. Yeah, Mark Curfew for White Men, Drakeford. Sturgeon, I love Brussels. Yes, the big fish who loves Brussels. The devolved governments of Wales and Scotland have turned out to be one of the most terrible disasters those countries have ever faced in recent years. Now, I'm speaking as a former Welsh nationalist. The Senedd Cymru, Scottish Parliament appear to attract some of the most horrible kinds of people that has ever got into politics, and that really says something, doesn't it? The people who are so enjoying the lockdown they wouldn't even release their countries, even when the Westminster told them to. They wouldn't release their countries from the lockdown because they were just loving every minute of it. What's this? Yeah, well, parting at number 10, yeah. Do you think Nicola Sturgeon didn't have a part? Do you think Mark Drakeford? Do you also think Mark Drakeford sat at home, sipping sherry, listening to Christmas carols on TV with his family only miles away? Of course not. They did about Hancock, didn't they? Probably drove 100 miles or something, like they all do. Ben, call me what you like. I'm easy with that. Okay, lady, ban, sir, person. Mr. B did a great song called Parpygate. I think I heard that. Yeah. What's this? This is David. What is it that makes words masculine or feminine in certain European language? Why are gendered words used at all? And why was there any historical recognition of the dual nature of gender? I don't know, because of course some languages do. English has and we have three genders, like other Germanic languages. Yet we don't actually call inanimate objects by he or she. We call them all it. Except sometimes we call ships she. Launching her. God bless her all who sail in her. Other languages, some languages only have two genders, such as the Celtic and Romance languages, and everything is either he or she. In Welsh, you say you call your car as he. He's not working very well. My car. My clock on the wall. She's stopped. My clock on the wall. She has stopped. I've got to wind her up. Things like that. French is even more pronounced. The role of gender in French is even more pronounced than in Welsh. They're different words. They're in completely different words, adjectives, depending on what you're describing as either masculine or feminine, as either an inanimate object or a person. Now, I'm quite there was an article I saw. I haven't even looked at it. I can't bear to look at it. But there's articles saying that these languages should be restructured. They should basically be engineered as some kind of newspeak to remove this gender bias from them. As yes, the Welsh for 100 is cant. That's right. That's right, cant. Da iawn. TK, and they haven't won. TK, if they won, why are they panicking? If they have won, why are they jumping through hoop after hoop after hoop right at the moment? Why? They have not won. They're far from it. All right, Martin Taylor. Yes, I am a man with two daughters. Daughters I created naturally. I believe you, Martin Taylor. I don't believe you they came out of one of those horrible baby farms that I saw a video about. I believe you, Martin. Yeah, my daughters conceived the usual way as well and was born the usual way. Snarnock. Has Trevor considered moving to Florida? You should ask him. I mean, he's getting fed up with Canada. I mean, if you listen to Third Rail Radio, you'll know that. We must do a new one at some point. Can you not see even a bit of why I'm saying they've won? TK, I've read your comments. You keep saying things like, well, there's so many of them. They can organise all these different things. But as I said, if they've won, why am I here? Why are you here? Why are we alive? Why even if this video disappears, I can download it immediately. Hopefully, I can download it immediately because it's on StreamYard and distribute it to other social media. Why are they taking horrible, from their point of view, reckless risks to keep their agenda going right now if they've won? Snarnock, please get Reeves on Third Rail Radio. Snarnock, I mean, Trevor and I have been using Skype to record, so technically we could. I've actually had Reeves on a Panwo show. Snarnock, you can listen. Here we go. Look at this. I've been on his show about 3 times now. Both in the Mindset and the Post Mindset days. Here we go. Who's this? Who's that fella? There we are. Program 442. You can get it there. There it is. This on. You can get. There's the link to the actual podcast. So, yeah. Why am I alive? Should I know this? Well, if you're against the New World Order, the New World Order of one, why do they allow us to live? Why do we allow how does a one world government, which has nobody to answer to, a complete monopoly of power, allow dissenters to live? TK, God wins, and yeah. I mean, I don't share your religious beliefs, David, but I wouldn't describe myself as an atheist at all. I believe this is a spiritual battle at the end of the day. It is spiritual, I think. And TK, because I pay taxes. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, if you refused, yeah, you'd be in trouble, wouldn't you? Yeah. Niall said that he did not need the right. Snarnock, has Niall had a bit of V-word regret? Because, I mean, when Niall did this, I don't want to go into details now because it's on his channel, which is called Through an Opaque Lens, which I'm very fond of. Very good channel. Niall's a very good guy. I like him a lot. But of course, he had a medical procedure that I advised him not to. He said, "Don't worry, I'll be fine. I can do this," and he gave various reasons why he'd made this decision. Which he's described himself. I personally, I think what was done to him constitutes coercion, as it has for so many people. And now maybe he wished he hadn't. I don't know if he suffered any health problems as a result of his decision. I hope not. I'd be very upset if he did. TK, the system would gobble you up for far less than simply tax evasion if it was all powerful. It's not all powerful. It's not all powerful. Jake, does anyone here think H was the savior of the world? I think. Where we are now? Sorry. Obviously, I can't say too much, Jake, except to say that I think he's had a trial in the mainstream, of which only the prosecution has ever been heard. There was no defence case ever tabled again in favour of Mr. H. And today and then they move straight on to the verdict and the conviction. I mean, there were amateur videos that have come out, such as Mr. H. It's his name, and then The Greatest Secret Never Told. There's one called Hellstorm, which is pretty horrible, but I recommend it as an alternative World War II history. But why if they've lied to us about so much, why shouldn't they have lied to us about Mr. H? Lisa actually brought this up on her show, Crime Freedom Show. Maybe they've lied to us about him too. Well, it's controversial to say that, but I'm not going to shy away from controversy. But yeah, I wouldn't go as far as I said. We haven't heard the defence case yet, but I'm not ready to say, well, because of that, he's the saviour of the world. It's just he may not be as bad as he's been portrayed. He is a rational optimist like you, Ben. I like his videos. All right, Snarnock, is that who are you talking about? Niall, yes. I like Niall. I've collaborated with Niall several times. David, if mankind thinks they can go it alone and prevail, yeah. David, there's more to mankind or humanity or our species or life than these skin suits on our brains. Otherwise, everything would be totally different. There is a soul and there is a God of some description, some intelligence. So there's some kind of intelligence, some kind of consciousness to this universe. What's this? I don't know what that's about. Tika, how can we come together against the New World Order when we are fighting about Brexit? But they're connected. Brexit is a rebellion against the New World Order at a very fundamental level. I mean, I've debated this with people. I've spoken to people who think otherwise, who think, no, it's nothing special about Brexit at all. Brexit is irrelevant. Brexit it's either at best something we should just ignore because it's irrelevant, or it's a deliberate scam by our enemies, either to lull us into a false sense of security or to change in strategy for them. And every opposition they put is just a deeper part of the conspiracy. Their opposition to it is fake. I've spoken to these people. I've listened to what they have to say. I've debated them, and I've done analyses with them, with people like Niall, with Claire Ray Randall, with Caroline Stevens. I mean, she's one of the people I actually disagreed with quite considerably on this. Right, it's now I've been doing this for more than 2 hours. So guys, do you mind if we give it what I'll do is I'll stop this broadcast. I'll go straight over and see if it's ready for download. Maybe it'll be ready for download already. Be great if it is, wouldn't it? Would it be great? Wouldn't it be great if it's actually available right now for download? Huh? And which means I can continue to use StreamYard, because I don't know about you, but I think this has been quite. I think this has been. Cheers! You're welcome, TK. You're welcome. I think this has been a pretty successful live stream. I think the StreamYard has worked pretty well. It's worked as it's meant to work. I mean, presumably you heard. No one's complained they couldn't hear the audio on the videos, for example. Night, Hugo Rune. Night, Hugo. Take care. Thanks very much. I like this thing. I can highlight the comments. It makes them easier to read. It means the viewers can see them better, even on the other sites and things like that. And so yeah, it's actually quite. I do quite like them. Yeah. Cheers, Ben. I enjoy the free speech of the lives. Me too, Jake. Thank you very much for posting. Thanks for your comments. Thank you. Thanks, Narnock. I enjoyed you being here. Thanks for your comments. Yeah, it's great. TK, I'm going to use StreamYard. Maybe I'll be able to use StreamYard. Could I use StreamYard to record my comments reply videos? That'd be great if I could do that, wouldn't it? I might use that. If this could even become a replacement for OBS. Because I like the background. I can do the background, even though it's actually a bit better than Skype. When I do that on Skype, my hands just disappear. But yeah. Thank you, all of you, everyone who's watched, everyone who's commented, especially the people who commented. Thank you very much, all of you. It's been a great live stream. Have a very happy Brexit day, all of you. It's been a great one. A third one. There's going to be many more. I will continue to monitor the situation. Never let them make us forget about Brexit. Good night, one and all.